And what American president wants to turn to the American people and say, well, last night, to appease the genocidal, maniacal regime in Tel Aviv, I authorized American forces to participate in a futile effort to shut down Iran's military capabilities. As a result, we've lost 10,000 dead. Blame me. In an election year, on the eve of national elections, that's not a conversation the president wants to have with the American people. So I don't know what's going on with the Israelis, but I would say this, that it's my assessment that if they attack Iran, they commit suicide, and they know that. So maybe they're not going to attack Iran. They're going to try and bluff this attack to get the most concessions they possibly can out of the Biden administration. If Israel attacks Iran with nuclear weapons, there's two major problems with that test. One is the diversion of nuclear material away from the International Atomic Energy Agency's ongoing monitoring regime. Yes, the Iranians have blocked IAEA inspectors from looking at centrifuge production and other things that were never part of safeguards, always part of the expanded inspection regime under the JCPOA, but the Iran nuclear deal. But the actual safeguards agreement is designed to account for the totality of nuclear material in Iran. And that safeguards agreement is still there, still in place. Inspectors are still going in, and there's been no talk about the diversion. And remember, this wouldn't be insignificant diversion. This would be a massive diversion of a particular, component. This is the 60% enriched UF6, uranium hexafluoride, that Iran has produced, ostensibly to support the production of metal fuel plates for a research reactor in Tehran. But there's more, they have more there than that. The IAEA has assessed that Iran could produce up to 3 nuclear weapons, I think by now up to 5 nuclear weapons using this material, but it would have to be diverted. So there's been no talk about massive diversions. And unless Iran had a totally secret, uranium enrichment program, which is highly unlikely because of, again, the fact that the JCPOA was pretty comprehensive in tracking this kind of stuff. And even, since they've done that, you'd have to divert material. There'd have to be a whole new support, source of uranium dioxide and, the yellow cake and all these things. So without diversion, you don't make the bomb. So where'd the bomb come from? The other thing is the earthquake in question was 10 miles below the surface. The deepest oil well is like 7.7 miles. The idea that the Iranians are going to drill a borehole down 10 miles and put, a device down there with all the testing mechanisms and everything, and then without being detected, no. So I think that was an earthquake. Now I know there's going to be people come out and talk about the seismic wave, and there was no, compression wave in the fore and all that stuff. I mean, that's how can I debate that? I'm just saying that 10 miles below the surface, unprecedented, unlikely, and the lack of diversion makes me say that whatever happened, my money is that it wasn't an Iranian nuclear test. But back in May, the former foreign minister of Iran, currently a member of the Expediency Discernment Council, which is a constitutionally mandated body that advises the supreme leader on a variety of issues, said, if Israel ever attacks our nuclear infrastructure, we will have to make adjustments to our nuclear posture. The implication was that Iran would make a nuclear bomb in response. Since then, the head of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, or a senior member of the Revolutionary Guard, came out and said that the current policy continues to be no nuclear weapon, but we are prepared for a time when realities change and people threaten the existence of the Islamic Republic. And if that happens, we would obviously change what we're doing. I don't think the Iranians make these statements in a vacuum. I think these statements are made about the time that the former foreign minister made his statement. There was talk about Iran procuring specific components usable in a nuclear device, high explosive components. Again, we don't have IEA inspectors monitoring Iran's explosive production capabilities. And, I think Iran could very easily, in a very short period of time, and I believe they already have done, assembled basically 3 to 5 nuclear devices minus the fissile material. Now, I don't know what design they're going to use. Are they going to use a spherical compression? Or use a gun device? I don't know. The easiest one is the gun device. The other one, where you have to make the different lenses, requires a lot of testing. If you want to do a quick boom bomb, a gun device, and they have the uranium to do it. The spherical device generally it can be like a plutonium weapon that requires processing of spent uranium fuel rods. Again, a whole other level of stuff that Iran could do, but it's too complicated for a quick turnaround. My bet is a gun device is going to produce a yield of 15, 20 kilotons, enough to destroy all of Tel Aviv, Haifa, Eilat, central Israel, Beersheba, Dimona. That's it. And if Israel uses a nuclear weapon against Iran, I can pretty much guarantee that Iran will destroy all of Israel. Israel will cease to exist. That's a guarantee. And that's not me just speaking out, thin air. The Iranians have pretty much said that. And again, the Iranians aren't going to make this statement. The Iranians, when they made the decision to attack on October 1st, that decision was made as part and parcel of a strategic understanding of what could happen because of this, up to and including Israel using nuclear weapons in response. Iran has already factored in all of these possibilities, and they have scenarios for each one. The second Israel started talking about the potential of using nuclear weapons, I think things have been triggered inside Iran. I'd be very curious to hear from the IAEA and their report card on potential diversion. I'd like to know when the last time they did a full accounting of Iran's UF6 is 60% enriched uranium hexafluoride. I'd like to know the last time they did that. I'd like to know the last time they inspected the underground cascades that are specifically designed to produce the high enriched uranium. Because if I were the Iranians, I would have already begun the process of making highly enriched uranium. I would have already, just statements of the Israelis alone said, okay, let's do it. And I would have quietly sent out signals to my Persian Gulf neighbors that you don't want to let the United States use bases, and you don't want to have Israel attacking our oil infrastructure, because from a self-preservation standpoint, we have to take out everybody's oil infrastructure. We can't allow ourselves to be isolated that way. For deterrence to work, the world has to understand we will take everything out. Therefore, if we are attacked, we will take everything out, which creates global economic chaos, high prices, the whole works. But we'll see. But I think Iran will be a nuclear power before the year is out. They have no choice. Israel has behaved in a totally irresponsible fashion. They're going to get more and more desperate as they continue to fail across the board. The other thing that has to happen is that the United States and the world now have to stand up and confront Israel on its nuclear weapons program. We can't allow it to exist anymore. It's irresponsible. And I would say at the same time, once we target Israel's nuclear weapons program, we have to go to the Iranians and say, you don't get one either. That's the deal. We will verifiably dismantle this, but we have to come in and make sure you don't have one, and nobody else gets one too. And then, we have to begin this process, but we can't allow Israel to have these nuclear weapons anymore. It's a genocidal, insane state full of hatred, and it's desperate. These are people that view the Arabs as subhumans. They speak of Amalek, the need to eradicate these threats, and the fact that they even consider using nuclear weapons preemptively against Iran makes them, it disqualifies them as responsible nation state.